Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you've clicked on this video, you maybe don't like the autumn winter months, which breaks my heart a little bit. As you can see from the top, I am an autumn lover. I'm a pumpkin spice girly, but I didn't always feel this way. Now I am a Libra, I am an October baby, so I have always had some kind of love for the autumn months because it's my birthday. It's my birthday. I am someone that fucking loves their birthday, so I have always had some kind of appreciation for the autumn months, but I'm also someone that very much suffers mentally, and with my mental health when it gets colder and when it gets darker, which is what happens in autumn. So I thought I would make this video as my survival guide, there's a classified survival guide to the autumn months and the winter months, and how I deal with them and how I continue to be productive, continue to function as a member of society. So I'm going to kind of divide these tips up. I'm going to have tips for the mornings because I definitely think the mornings are the hardest parts about the weather changing, and also kind of daily tips that are just going to make the upcoming seasons, the colder weather, the dark mornings, the dark evenings feel that little bit easier. So we are going to start by talking about mornings and how we can make our mornings, and at the start of our day, our morning is the start of the day, and that's what we need to remember, is that how we start the day is typically how the day is going to go on. So we want to make sure that we can have a super positive start to our day. And how are we going to do that in autumn when it's cold and dark and you look out the window and it's pissing it down with rain and you actually just want to stay in bed all day? Wow. The first thing that we are going to do is make sure that our blind is shut, and our blind or curtains stay shut until you know it's light outside. So this is something that I've been really struggling with recently, is that I wake up in the morning, I see it's dark outside and I just want to go straight back to sleep. So the biggest tip is to just keep your blind shut, because if you start your day without looking outside, it sounds so bizarre. But if you get on with your morning routine without seeing that it's still dark outside, you can kind of trick yourself. You can gaslight yourself into starting your day and not feeling trapped by the darkness into needing to stay into bed. Does that make sense? Because I feel like sometimes when you wake up and you see it's dark outside, you just want to stay in bed because it's dark, and your body tells you it's dark, you should be in bed. Especially at the start of autumn, we're not really used to the dark. We're not really used to the dark mornings yet. So I would definitely make sure you keep your blind shut so you can pretend that the sun has risen and it is light outside and it is time to start your day. The thing that goes hand in hand with this is a Lumi clock. I love Lumi clocks, and to be honest, it doesn't specifically need to be a Lumi clock, but any sunrise alarm clock. These help so much in the winter months because it creates a fake sunrise, and the main thing that I find this helps with is I wake up and it's light. There's light in my room. It isn't I wake up, it's dark and it's so easy to fall back asleep. It's definitely harder to fall back asleep, and it's easier to make sure you get up when there is a light on. And with this I say turn your light on as well as soon as you get up. So make sure your alarm clock is on the other side of your room. You have to get up to turn it off, and then make sure you have a bedside alarm clock, bedside lamp, this one here, that you can turn on as soon as you wake up. So you have that on, you have your Lumi clock on, or your sunrise alarm clock, the light is on, and suddenly your room is so much lighter. That in itself will make it so much easier because your blind is shut. You're imagining your Lumi is the sun, and you don't have to deal with the dark mornings. It makes it so much easier to wake up. Main thing here is making sure you have a morning routine that you enjoy, a morning routine that you like. Now you may want to adapt your normal morning routine for the darker and colder months because they're cold. You might want something a little bit cozier. So I have a morning routine on my channel from a few weeks ago, back in summer. I know that I will be adjusting my morning routine over the coming months to just adjust to something a little bit cozier. But yeah, make those adjustments to your routine and make sure it's still something that you are looking forward to. It may be that actually you decide that you want to go to the gym first thing in the morning now because it's dark of an evening, and otherwise you're not going to want to get your workout in, you're going to want to come home and be all cozy. Or you want to use that time that you have in the evening to do steps because you feel a bit safer than going out in the morning, because you can kind of go out between the times that you would normally be in the gym when it's still a bit like busier outside even though it's dark. But yeah, adapting your morning routine and finding a morning routine that you're excited about and that like fills you with a bit of joy and pours into your own cup before you start your day is really, really important, because as I keep saying, when it's dark we just want to stay in bed, and then that ends up having a massive effect on us because we're staying in bed, we're starting our day in a massive rush because we're not having this time to pour into ourselves, so we're constantly pouring into other people because it's dark and it's cold and we just want to stay in bed. So those are my tips for the morning, and now I'm going to kind of talk through my daily tips as a whole and how you can kind of run your life. So one of the most important things that I think you need to have for any time of year is small things to look forward to. So I like to savour things for certain times of year, and obviously you can find things to look forward to in meeting up with friends and social events and things like that. I like to do it through series and books. You can tell I'm cool. Yeah, I save specific series, specific films, and I guess to an extent books for certain times of year. And the reason I do this is it creates an atmosphere and just a vibe, like, and it really gives me something to look forward to. Like, so, okay, my watching schedule is, I kind of only have it for autumn, winter, and then spring, summer, like, it's a little bit scattered. But autumn, we start Gilmore Girls, the quintessential early autumn show. Now I know a lot of people say that Gilmore Girls isn't early autumn, but I think it really is, because you know, season 1 Rory is starting Chilton and you get the back to school vibe. You get back to school with Rory and then it takes you through her journey. I don't want to give spoilers away because some of you may not have watched Gilmore Girls, which is a shame. And if you haven't watched Gilmore Girls, turn this video off and go and put Gilmore Girls on. But yeah, I feel like it really captures back to school in a really nice way. And then it takes you through all the way up to like Thanksgiving. I'm British, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but seasonally I feel like that's when it changes for me. Like mid-November is when we change to more like Christmas, winter time. So Gilmore Girls is taking us around to then. I personally skip Gilmore Girls a year in the life. Controversial, but I don't need that. I like to end Gilmore Girls where Gilmore Girls originally ended. And then we start the Gossip Girl rewatch. Now, again, controversial because a lot of people say do this in the other order. I think Gossip Girl is such a perfect wintertime watch because especially like late autumn, there's a lot of Thanksgiving episodes. So it's really nice for that November time. And then it takes you through January really nicely. And then we kind of get into February, and that's when things, I find around February, new things start to come out, and I like to watch those then. So we have our series to look forward to. You can find your own ones. There's so many recommendations online of like the perfect year-round rewatch playlist. If you're not a rewatcher, I'm sorry. But you can also find things that are, like other things that are just there to look forward to. So movies and Bake Off starts this week. That's something that you can look forward to on a weekly basis. It only comes around this time of year. It's really nice. It creates like a nice comfy cozy atmosphere. It's a wholesome programme to watch. The vibes for autumn that I like are creating something wholesome. So tip number 1 is finding things to look forward to that are season specific or that you can make season specific. Number 2 is embrace the cozy season. I am a big believer in that if you embrace autumn, if you embrace the rainy weather, if you embrace the fact that it's colder, if you embrace the fact that it's darker and you change your space to that, you change your wardrobe for that, you make the adaptations, then it makes it so much easier mentally than when you're in this constant stage of resistance. If you're trying to resist it, if you're telling yourself it's still summer, it's gonna make it harder, like, because really, like, it is autumn, you can't change that. You could go to a different country, you could go on holiday, you could do all of those things, but if you're living somewhere like the UK, it's autumn and you kind of need to just accept that. And accepting it and leaning into that and embracing it is so important. And the best ways to embrace it is to, I think, make it cozy. And we can still be productive and cozy. So the main ways that I think are really good to make it cozy is make sure you have like mood lighting. I'm not a big light girly. I never have the big light on. The only time I have the big light on is if I'm looking for something. Otherwise, I have multiple. I have a lamp here, I have a lamp here, I have my Lumi, I have candles. I did used to have this whole wall with fairy lights, but find mood lighting that you like and that works in your space, and it will make such a difference, I promise you, especially when it starts to roll around to kind of November, December time and the days are really short and it's dark at 4 p.m. I normally put my mood lighting on all day, and I find that it really helps because you don't massively notice as much when it's starting to get dark if you already have your room like lit nicely. Especially like my room, kind of from almost now onwards, I don't really get a lot of sunlight in here, so having really nice mood lighting is a massive help, so I definitely recommend that. The other ways that we can embrace the cozy season is candles. I love candles. I love going for different scents. So I've got a pumpkin spice. The one I have burning at the moment is called Sweater Weather. It's from Tesco's. I got it today and it's really nice. It's a really subtle smell as well. A nice September scent. I have my pumpkin candles, but you don't have to go for like the strong autumn scent. Because I know some people really hate cinnamon. If you don't like those strong scents, you don't have to go for them, but candles themselves can still create a really nice atmosphere, and again, really help with getting cozy and just help with the overall vibe and creating atmosphere. And that is one of the main things that we want to do, is create a nice, comforting atmosphere. Especially like if you are someone that struggles mentally, you want to feel comforted by your space. So I would really recommend looking on Pinterest and finding inspiration for the things that, like, the spaces that feel comforting to you, because they are going to be different for everyone, but looking at things that like feel comforting and replicating that in your space in various different ways is so beneficial. And again, it's really just going to help mentally, and that is the main thing that we're trying to achieve here, is doing things that are going to make us feel good mentally. So I'm a neutrals queen. I like neutrals. They make me feel nice. They make me feel calm. They make me feel relaxed. So no matter the season, I have neutral colours in my room, and I just add extra pieces of decor with like foliage. I change out my scents. And doing things like that, it creates that atmosphere and it creates a space that I like and I like being in as well, because realistically, we're going to be spending a lot of time in our spaces when it's cold. Like, that's just how it is. So making it a space that you want to be in is really important as well. So the other thing is that I find helps, that kind of goes along with what I was saying with series, is reading. Autumn is reading season to me. We have the two main reading seasons are summer, when we're reading on the beach, and autumn, when we are curled up under a blanket. It's absolutely pissing it down outside. We've got a candle on and we're reading. Embrace it. Find things that like make you feel good, or use reading as a massive escapism tool. And if you're really not vibing with the autumn, read summary books. Read a book that is going to take you to the beach, because if you can really like escape in the book, it can massively help like create that atmosphere that you're craving in your head. So I would definitely say, like, embrace the fact that we're about to have perfect reading weather, where like we want to be curled up, we want to be inside, we can, even if it's a crappy day, we can read a book about a hot place and embrace that weather. And then I think my final tip is embrace the autumn fashion. Everything is basically about embracing it, but take like joy in autumn fashion. Autumn fashion is the best thing ever. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I am, the thing is, it's like, I like clothes and I like putting nice outfits on, but when it comes to autumn, oh, I become like a fashion girly. I'm like, maybe I should make some fashion content. Do I know what I'm talking about? No. Do I care about it that much any other time of year? No. When it hits autumn though, I love it and I embrace it because it makes the season easy to enjoy, because I can find cute clothes, and then it gets colder and I can find more cute clothes. Like, and I can add layers and I can go for big jumpers, and like autumn clothes are so comfy and cool, and yeah, I just love it. Like, and again, this kind of also goes in with an idea of just finding things that you enjoy in the season, because other things that I really enjoy are days where it's quite cold and crisp but the sun is out, and going for walks on those days is just like the nicest thing. One of the most beautiful experiences in life, I think, is a cold crisp day. I'm talking 10 degrees, maybe a bit of frost. It's not rained in a little while, so there's not that much mud, and it's a Sunday. You go for a really long dog walk, and on the dog walk you stop at a pub and have a roast dinner. So good. And finding like little things like that, season specific, because in the summer, 30-degree heat, you're not going on a dog walk, you're not getting a roast dinner. So we're finding little things that you can't do in other seasons, and we're savouring them and we're enjoying them. And I think that's the key, is finding those little things that you enjoy, and they're going to be different for everyone. If you live in London, it could be something that's specific to the Christmas fucking markets. I love London Christmas markets, but finding small specific things like that is so key, because it makes it so much more enjoyable. And again, they're things to look forward to. Like right now, it's not cold enough to go for a crisp autumn walk. A few months' time, it's going to be that time. And it's something I'm looking forward to now. And suddenly the fact that it's darker and colder doesn't bother me, because I know I have that crisp autumn walk, and I know it's coming, and I know it's going to be here. So they can be really small things. And I guess in a way it's also about just romanticising your life, because that could be a really mundane thing. It's just a dog walk, but you make it into something else in your head. This can also be done with things like playlists, and it comes back to the same atmosphere that like I think is so important to create seasonally, and that this whole video is kind of talking about. We're talking about creating an autumn atmosphere that you are going to enjoy, and that is so specific to the season. And you'll probably have a different one come January, February, and one come spring, but I think music can be a really big part of this as well. I tend to switch to more like folk indie music, like Folklore, Evermore, Noah Khan, a little bit of Zach Bryan, although I'm thinking he's more late summer. But yeah, for me, I'm someone that like I group things really specifically, and it helps me create really nice atmospheres, which definitely helps with beating the winter blues. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up for this video. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you've enjoyed me talking about a kind of the time of year that has become my favourite. And yeah, I will catch you in the next one.